Ahoy there, Anthony the Captain here, or should I say Tony? The cheer captain is here. Woo! How's everyone doing here? As you can tell, I'm still in the spirit. You've been seeing a lot of cheer captain lately. I got my bombs right here, the big gigantic ones from the 70s and 80s.
I got my megaphone.
You're here. I'm here. Let's do this! Unfortunately, I'm going to have to seek some help over here. I need to seek professional help here because I'm so addicted to these NBA Live games from the late 90s. I just feel the slam dunks and the layups over here, especially if you're wide open, so oddly satisfying over here, just as much as I find the layups and the slam dunks in the 2K game so satisfying. Can somebody seek some professional help here for me, please? I think I really need to see one. I need to see a professional, because these are so addictive here. Here's where we're going to be playing a game that is for the SNES that I played a little bit on the Genesis / Mega Drive, and that's NBA Live 96. Now for this game, this was right around, this is the year that the Grizzlies and the Raptors were introduced. They added an expansion in Canada. In Canada. In Vancouver and Toronto, respectively. So this music play here. This isn't like this in the Genesis game, in the Genesis version. And for that reason, with the two teams being introduced in the NBA, even if you're playing an exhibition game, you have to perform a draft. You had to perform a draft in either version, whether it be in the NES or the Genesis, and even if you're not playing the season mode here. So yeah, just like when the Nashville Predators were introduced in 1998, in the NHL 99 games, even if you're playing an exhibition game, you still had to perform a draft. So there you go. I played a sample game right before we went on the air, and so I had to perform a draft over here, so I had no choice but to perform that draft. Let's play as the Timberwolves. I gotta play as my Hornets. I know I'm wearing Celtics gear. What I'm donning over here looks like Celtics gear, but still, it's close enough. Besides, I'm the Spirit Squad from Minneapolis. Where did the Timberwolves play at back then? I know they play at the Target Center nowadays, but where did they play back then? And we got Muggsy, Hawkins, Burrell, Larry Johnson. I recognize him. Alonzo Mourning. Not familiar with the Timberwolves team during this time period here, so you're going to have to excuse me on that. West. Woohoo! Wasn't close enough to do that layup or that slam dunk, but that's okay. See what I mean? I need to see a professional over here because I could do these all day and all the night. Yep, somebody call the doctor. I'm a slam dunk layup addict here in these video games. Not mention I'm horrible in basketball in real life. I bet I did many a time, bub. So satisfying. Yeah, they were low on the totem pole back then, so. Something tells me I should have chosen the Warriors or the... not the Warriors. I should have chosen the Bulls or the Magic or the Rockets or the Sonics. And instead I had to choose the... Or maybe the Blazers, I don't know. The Portland Trail Blazers. Or maybe the Utah Jazz. Hard to believe that we're almost at the end of February already. Seems like yesterday the year was just getting started over here. Next thing you know, it's going to be closer and closer to spring break, and before you know it, closer and closer to the summer holiday, summer vacation. We're all going on a summer holiday with no more working for a week or two. Yeah, the old EA logo. Let's try the shapes there. Speaking of EA, I know I brought this up before, but it's been a while. I know it's been a while since I brought this up over here, but every time I look at that logo, boom shakalaka. But every time I look at that logo, it reminds me of this roller derby show that I used to watch back in the day, back in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's called Roller Jam. Basically, it was a combination of roller derby, your typical roller derby, meets pro wrestling. And because pro wrestling and the Monday Night War was really popular back then, they just had Roller Jam just had to go along with it. Especially during the later seasons. The show lasted 4 seasons. And the first half of it, especially the first season, it was focused on the sport itself. But as the series wore on, if you would, they started adding pro wrestling-like storylines and acting like WCW or WWE. In fact, ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, made a couple of guest appearances on there because they were on the same network. The TNN. I think it's now Paramount Network, and it was later after TNN, it was turned into Spike TV, and now it's like a Paramount Network or something like that. I don't know. I've lost track, but still, ECW was on the same network as Roller Jam, and so they wanted Roller Jam wanted a piece of the pie as far as the wrestling craze and the Monday Night War is concerned. But EA was one of their sponsors, and believe it or not, they were on the verge of they almost made a Roller Jam video game. And we saw a sample of it, or a demo, if you would. We saw a demo of it on one of the episodes of Roller Jam. And that's the end of the first quarter. And I'm dominating right there. Like I said, I should have. And they almost made a game. There was a sample on one of the. There's like a demo, if you would, at one of the episodes of Roller Jam. I think it was right around the time where North Carolina's own Shay Brown turned into the Warrior Princess, went for a character revamping, and for some reason she reminded me of China from WWE. Same goes with Janet Abraham. Both Janet Abraham and Shay Brown were dominant forces in Roller Jam, and Janet Abraham and Shay Brown and her Warrior Princess character reminded me so much of China, the ninth wonder of the world, WWE. And I'm still angry that China's not in the Hall of Fame as a solo inductee, because you want true trailblazers in women's wrestling, especially modern day women's wrestling, look no further. She's the dominant force. She can hang with men. She can swim with the sharks. She can hang with men, women. It don't matter who you are. She took on all comers. But she wasn't afraid to show off her feminine side, because take a look at the storyline with Eddie Guerrero and the romance. You know what I mean? But back to the Roller Jam video game that never was. I would have loved to have seen a full release of the game here, or at least to played a demo of it. Why they changed their minds at the last minute, it's beyond me. Like before, what I don't like about the SNES games is who is subbing for whom. Because I hate to say this, but there are some players that I know off the bat right then and there, but there are some other players that I'm not familiar with. Like I'm well familiar with Muggsy Bogues, Vlade Divac, Larry Johnson, Kendall Gill, Del Curry, Anthony Mason, Glenn Rice, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone. Yeah, I'm going all over the place. I could be here all day here. Hakeem Olajuwon, excuse me. Grant Hill, Charles Barkley. I don't think Charles Barkley is in this game due to licensing restrictions, nor is MJ. Yeah, see, there are several players that I can name off bat here, but some players, but for the rest of the rosters in each team, I'm not familiar with them. I'm sorry. You have to give me an education lesson. Yeah, I should have chosen the Magic or the Bulls or the Sonics or the Rockets. Because why I decided to go with the Timberwolves, I have no clue. And he'll have a shot for one more. Because this seems too easy. But still, a win will be a win if I can hang on. Unless, of course, I turn this into a Clarence Carter game and have the game. Slip away! Slip away! Slip away! Don't feel good. Yeah, I'm addicted to these NBA Live games over here. I do need to seek some professional help over here, because this is a strange addiction. I think I need to be on the TV. They need to revive the TV show My Strange Addiction. Boom shakalaka. They need to revive the show Boom, no, not Boom Shakalaka. What am I saying? They need to revive the show My Strange Addiction because I'm addicted to these games here, to these NBA Live games from the late 90s. Yeah, the Timberwolves were low on the totem pole at the time. I guess I wanted to go with a different team over here other than the ones we already know. What did I do that for? You were wide open. Why'd you leave him wide open for? 2, 1. I guess I'm in the dominant lead. You can't get more 90s than this. Leaves cut in half over here, 50-25. Muggsy! Who was the first New York Knick to have 2 consecutive 2,000-point seasons? Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the New York Knicks at the history over here. The only New York Knick that I'm well familiar with is Patrick Ewing. Leather jacket. Leather jacket. Patrick Ewing pop-up video. Oprah Winfrey. Leather jacket. Oprah Winfrey pop-up video. And we're saying, Anthony, what in the world are you singing? It's based off an inside joke over here. And that's the thing about Captain's Arcade over here. I get to tell stories and share my memories with these video games and just share inside jokes. Although I do have one specific friend over here that I share inside jokes with, and that we get each other. We can finish each other's sentences, and we can remember things together. We remember things alike. We can get inside jokes alike, understand each other alike. We're kind of like twins. The only thing that we're not alike is that we don't look alike. But still, we're like twins, separated at birth, almost like sister here. Except, do a little gender bending here. We got brother. brother. They should have like a male counterpart. Sisters are called brother. Starring me and my boy. And the whistle's more realistic here in the SNES version. But like I said, I feel bad for you. For those of you that love you some Nintendo, especially Super Nintendo back in the day, I really feel for you because in the Sega Genesis games, you can tell who's subbing. They'll let you know on the screen who's subbing for whom. But in these games, you don't see who's subbing for whom. I'm sorry, but every time I get a slam dunk, I feel the verge of doing it again and again. Whether it be slam dunk, layup, whatever. Yep, I do need to seek some professional help over here because this is my strange addiction over here. And do you know what else I have a strange addiction of? Portraying this cheer captain character. I started wearing this at WrestleCade back in 2021. It was so over, it's not even funny. It's more over than half the roster on WWE. Or a good chunk of the roster. And so I thought, you know what? Why not keep this gimmick and make variations of it? Except I went to the nth degree. I got a megaphone. These ginormous, huge, gigantic pom-poms that they carried back in the 70s and 80s. And I just made it my own. I even got an endorsement from Kenny Dykstra himself, Ken Doan, member of the Spirit Squad, who's now a coach over at the Performance Center. Yeah, hard to believe I got an endorsement from a former WWE Tag Team Champion. So I thought, you know, in this case, I might as well go ahead and start slowly phasing out and retiring my pirate/fisherman gear. They'll always be a part of me, but, and you know what? My brain just hatched an idea just now. You know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just recently brought back their creamsicle gear, the creamsicle throwback week, if you would. And they had the cheerleaders following suit and having these ginormous pom-poms just as big as, I dare say just as big as the my patriotic ones. That's what I liked about the old school cheerleaders, and especially the creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like them a whole lot better than I do with the smaller ones that they have nowadays, but yeah. You know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had the pirate gimmick is, this is going to be a part of me. It's going to be a part of me forever here and all, but what if I get an endorsement? My idea is, what if I can get an endorsement deal from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? You know, there's an idea. Or partnership with their cheerleaders. The answer, Patrick. Oh, it is Patrick Ewing. Okay. Yeah, I was saying that's the only New York Knick that I know of. A total of 2,347 and 2,154 in the 89-90 and 90-91 seasons respectively. Okay. Yeah. That's the only New York Knick I can think of over here. So yeah, I guess you could say I was right, but okay. Even though I never called it. I've been saying that I knew that I had a feeling that this was going to be he was the only New York Knick that I know about. I doubt I had, even though I had some doubts that that it wouldn't be the correct answer over here. So yeah, I had some doubts about the answer if it would. Yeah. Oh well. I'm trying to think some other. Boom shakalaka. Yeah, these slam dunks are addictive over here. I'm trying to think of other football and basketball teams that have cheerleaders and use the pirate logo. Doesn't that feel satisfying? Okay, who's subbing for whom? I really feel for you, SNES fans here from back in the day. trying to think of some other football and basketball teams out there that had the Pirate logo and had cheerleaders from the 70s and 80s that carried big pom-poms. This is becoming an addiction over here. Whew. A spectacular dunk. Oh, it's not a dunk, it's a layup. I want to see if I can get an endorsement deal from any of those teams over here. That any football, basketball team that used a pirate for their logo and had cheerleaders from back in the day that used ginormous pom-poms. Oh, yeah. He's on fire. I know it's the wrong game, but still, I love to shout those. I love to shout those. He's on fire! If only the Hornets could act like this in real life over here, be a dominant force over there, even though they were a dominant force. I'm talking about make it far in the playoffs. These were the Charlotte Hornets that I was born and raised with. Both teams sub, but who's subbing for whom? An inquiring mind wants to know. Like I said, there are some players that I'm not familiar with. Oh, you were wide open over here. A pick six and you blew it. They got a foul. Rubbing it in their face now. Well, I guess that makes up for the halftime heat that I did over here in Madden 96. That I did this past Sunday or during the halftime heat. We will stop doing that. Boom shakalaka. I doubt I'm going to get to 100, but still. Ain't no way they can catch up now. Somebody messaged me, they can wait. Just one more minute. Literally one more minute. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Woman pushed me out of bounds. That's the stiff price you pay. Now I think it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, you were wide open. Yeah. Oh. Almost at 100. Yeah. Score one for the boys back in Charlotte. Woo! Final score 98-55. Almost at 100. Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Muggsy Bogues. Shortest NBA player of all time. Okay. All right, folks, that's kind of do it for this edition of Captain's Arcade. Join us next week for some more arcade fun. Until then, baby, say goodbye.